and see where you end up.
Okay.
So again, on your credit report, they're looking at the last 7 years of your trade line history, and it can go back further than that. But if there's anything, that's mainly what they're looking at.
Okay.
The amounts owed, so 30% of your score is going to be based on the debt.
Okay.
How much kind of a debt to the limit ratio. The next one, 15%, is the length of credit history. So again, the time that account has been established. I guess going back up to 35% payment history is more of, are you making your payments on time?
Right.
Okay, and what are you paying down on your balances? And then 10% is new credit, which is huge. I mean, it's only 10%,
Okay.
but it's still, again, are you opening too much new credit? And then the 10% says the types of credit used. But let's break that 10% down for a second.
Okay.
Okay. To say, well, what's good? You know, what's going to help me with my score? If I go buy a house and have a mortgage, like people have asked me that many times. Does a mortgage carry a much heavier score or help me
Right.
to attain that better score, or a car loan or a credit card? Well, credit cards, revolving accounts. Because an installment loan, which is just a fixed amount, you've got to make that payment every month.
Right.
Okay. On a credit card, that balance can go up and down, up and down.
Right.
You're paying it off, you're maxing it out, whatever you're doing.
What about cards like
American Express?
An American Express
Yeah.
Platinum card where
Yeah.
it's not revolving.
No limits.
Well, and it's not,
They're-
you know, you have to pay it every 30 days.
Yeah, you have to pay it. Yeah. American Express is tricky because, again, especially that I don't have a 100% answer on how they're scoring you, because a lot of times in the report too, because there's no limit and they'll show us like a month to month. Like sometimes I've looked at the months it's been revolving, it'll say 1 month.
Right.
You know, because it's not a limit, and you can pay it off every month, or you have to, obviously. But again, now are you paying it on the date after it was reported?
Right.
You know, so it's just going to adjust your score. So American Express is kind of tricky that way.
Okay.
But again, I think what they're looking at more is how long have you had the card open for.
Cool.
That's more of it there. Because sometimes it'll show like I've seen it where it shows your limit is 20,000 and you owe 20. Like whatever you owe is kind of like what it'll show as the limit.
Right.
Because there is no limit.
Right.
So it's going up month to month.
Cool.
But I don't think they base the score that much on the American Express. 35% of your score they're looking at is the revolving accounts, credit cards.
Okay.
So it's important to have 3 to 5 cards, using them. Like we said, we can't just let them sit dormant for a number of years. But that's a huge number that's going to make up your credit score. So
Okay.
you need to have them, and you need to use them.
Okay. Awesome.
Unlike some people that, sometimes I have some clients that go, yeah, but that's what got me in trouble in the first place. That's why I got derogatories. I ran up all this credit. Everything was going great. The market crashed. I lost my job. Something happened. So it's kind of one of those necessary evils too.
Yeah, I mean, well, you tell me. I mean, I'm thinking about ways to go about that on a monthly basis in a very easy, automated, disciplined manner. And I mean, you could just put, a couple of your phone bills or whatever, real basic expenses on your card every month, and just pay that off. And,
Yeah. Well, there's so many ways to use credit cards too to your advantage. Now, back in the day, if you remember, people get those 0% balance transfer offers.
Sure.
Which was the worst thing for your credit. Again, financially, hey, great, if I can transfer this $30,000 of debt from a 15%
But
interest rate to
essentially
zero.
closed one account and
Yes.
reopened a new one. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're picking up quick on this, Mike.
Hey.
You're going to be an expert. You don't need me after this. Mike's going to be doing the next video.
And yeah, right.
But yeah, those are some things you definitely don't want to do. Most people aren't getting those offers anymore. The thing you have to look for is that limit that gets lowered, like you said too. You just call the bank. I was in the middle of doing a loan 4 years ago here in Austin, out in Lakeway, on my house that I purchased, and all of a sudden, because I monitor my credit on an ongoing basis and saw that, they took my limit and lowered it down to within a couple $100s of my balance, even though it was at 30%. I knew what to do to line myself up to have the best credit score.
Yep.
And all of a sudden that month they lowered my limit.
You're right.
I called them up and said, "What in the world are you doing? Do you realize I'm in the middle of a mortgage loan here?
Right.
This could cost me my loan."
Right.
Because the bank they'll pull your report at the beginning of your loan process, but they always pull it before funding it too at the
totally.
end.
Yep.
We had a client like that too. Went out and bought a truck.
Right.
In the middle of doing a mortgage.
Well, that's what just happened to me right now. And we talked about this, and we had I made a big car purchase.
Right.
And for the business, and then that obviously dropped my score by by 100 points. I paid it off fully 2 weeks after I bought it.
Right.
But now here I am looking to buy property, and my credit score has dropped almost 100 points in like the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Because they're now getting, hey, he took out this big loan.
Right.
And it hasn't registered that it's already been paid off.
Yeah.
But now, I'm sitting here dealing with loan officers, and they're like, "Hey," and I'm like, "I paid it off. I don't know, and I'm having to sit here now and wait until it gets submitted to the credit bureaus, and so it's like my hands are freaking tied, and it's unbelievably frustrating."
Well, let's talk about that for a second too, because that's part of this process. Then, if you know that you're going to go out and apply for credit, and obviously we only talked a few weeks ago,
right? It was after I'd already gotten the car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That what I tell people, the rule of thumb there is that you need to line yourself up at least 2 months ahead of time.
Okay.
Okay. So get a hold of your credit report, see what's on there, or your balances on your credit cards. Get those things down to 25% of the limit. Again, people think, well, if I pay off this card and then I only have this payment, yeah, financially that helps you out. But overall, it's better to pay your limits down to, from 80 to 50%, and then 50 down to 40 and down to 30 equally across the board. Even if you got a $30,000 balance on one versus a $300, don't pay off the $300 in full.
Okay.
You just want to pay them all down equally.
Okay.
And get that down.
See, that's a new technique, or that I've never really heard of before.
Yeah, because and again, this might be weird, because if you have a financial planner, a Dave Ramsey or somebody like that,
they're going to say get rid of the 18% credit card.
Right.
Right.
They're going to say pay this one down immediately, and I totally agree from a financial point of view.
It depends on, I guess, what your end goal is. Are you going for the highest credit score possible strategically for a purpose now, or is it to get rid of the debt? And so I guess it depends on the scenario.
It does. And so that's why I hope people understand when I'm talking about this. I'm going, well, this guy's telling me to do this and that, and my other guy's telling me to do something else. Yes.
Well, there's two primary reasons everybody needs to pay a lot of attention to this session. First and foremost, if you're an investor and you're kind of in that mode like I am right now,
right?
I'm seeing the end results of not having this information right now today,
right?
Because I'm having to deal with the hit on my credit score from the car loan, and so that's that's totally a thorn in my side at the moment.
Today we're not talking about what's best in your financial interest as far as
strategic
debts
loan acquisition, is the agenda here, and then. For everybody else, if you're, let's say, just out of college, or you're younger, or you're going through a hard economic time right now, not letting it get to a really bad point.
Exactly.
Or if it already is, going through the restoration process and getting it fixed. Because unfortunately, this is really important if you're going to, in the future, going to want to pursue investment opportunities and to get a home loan and a car loan and whatever it may be. It really sucks when you have to go to other people for money and they say yes or no on something you're really driven to get, acquire in your life and the move you're trying to make. So, you got to play by the rules of the game, and this is something you can't do overnight. It takes time, and so you need to start today. So,
yeah. All right. Well, let's go on the next one then.